joining our September Career Connections on early childhood education. My name is Brent Gian Gregorio, and I'm going to be your host today. A few things, just a few housekeeping items before we kick it off. Because this is a webinar, everyone's lines are automatically muted, but we do really want to hear from you. So as we move through these presentations, at the bottom of your screen, there's a box labeled QA. If you click on that box, you can go ahead and type your questions in there, and we've reserved about 10 minutes at the end of today's webinar to answer questions. As well, after the webinar ends, if you could stay on for 1 extra minute, a survey is going to pop up on your screen, and we greatly appreciate you filling out that survey for us. Okay, fantastic. Well, we've got a great lineup today for all of you on careers in early childhood education. Our speakers today, first, we're going to hear from Anna McClendon, Director of Community Outreach and Engagement at the Early Learning Coalition of Sarasota, followed by Barbara Papatanakis, Early Childhood Specialist at ELC Sarasota. Then we're going to transition over to Francesca Ricardo, a Workforce Initiatives Coordinator at the Early Learning Coalition of Manatee, followed by Annette Larkin, Early Learning Coalition Manatee board member, and then Eunice Lopez will round it off. She's an adjunct instructor, and program manager at State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll move into Q&A, so you have some time to write your questions out so we can get those answered, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. And as I mentioned, that survey will pop up on your screen. So before we get started, just a little bit about the Women's Resource Center. The Women's Resource Center has been empowering women in Manatee and Sarasota counties since 1979. We have 3 locations across Manatee and Sarasota, one in Bradenton, one in Sarasota, and one in Venice. And we currently serve over 1,700 clients a year and deliver over 5,000 hours of programming. So what do we do, right? Really, our goal is to engage, educate, enrich, and empower women of all generations. And we do that through a number of our programs, such as resource advising, mental health counseling, career services, educational workshops, programs, scholarships, as well as legal and financial consultation and education. Now, all of these programs and services are offered at no cost or low cost to our clients. Now, since this is a career webinar, I'll talk a little bit more about our career programs and services. We offer one-on-one individual career coaching. That helps our clients prepare for a successful job search, can help them prepare for networking techniques, skills development, career discovery, and so much more. And as well, we have career centers at each of our locations where clients can come in and conduct job searches, get help with their resumes, help navigating job sites, uploading resumes, and filling out online applications. As well, we offer a career closet, both in Bradenton and Sarasota, where women who are attending job interviews or starting a new job can come in and pick out, professional attire, shoes, accessories, and then additionally workshops and webinars such as this. Okay, as I mentioned, we do really want to hear from you. So throughout the presentation, as you think of any questions, go ahead and drop them in that Q&A box and we'll get them at the very end. And then again, we're going to go ahead and send out a recording of this webinar via email. It'll have a link to the recording on our YouTube. It will have all the materials that are presented today. So the presentations, the flyers, all the information that we're going to discuss today will be emailed to everyone that registered for the webinar. And then one last plug, if you could just stay on 1 extra minute after we end the webinar to fill out our survey, that really helps us improve, continue kind of evolving these career connections and making sure, that they're a benefit to you. So that being said, I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to turn it over to Anna.
Hello, thank you so much, Brent. And really to everyone, thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. I had to check, it was like morning, afternoon. It's been a long day already. Thank you all for tuning in. And really thank you all for considering a career in childcare, weighing out your options for a preschool profession. We are just really excited that you are here. And just in general, like as we go through the next hour, we really hope that there's one takeaway, and that is, as you listen and you hear all that's available, is that this career, I always call it a career in caring. It's a career that can and will bring a lot of personal fulfillment. a very meaningful career, and let's be serious, it is really hard to come by. So take that in and follow that. But as we move forward in this hour, my hope is really twofold. Is one, I always set the record straight. In this world of outreach that I'm in, I'm meeting people on the street, meeting people in the community all the time. And I am really constantly setting the record straight with myths and misinformation, things like that. And then the other part is really showing you with visible and invisible ways and telling you about really the world of opportunities that this industry, that this career can bring, and you can take it as far as you want to take it. And we hope that that is very clear at the end of this hour for you. And if there was ever a time to jump on the preschool wagon, it's now. There's a lot of investment and there's a lot of interest, and you will see that throughout all the speakers today. So starting with the myths and misinformation, again, a lot of people I meet, they're like, oh, childcare teachers, yep, they're babysitters. Negative. They're most definitely not. They are professional, trained, credentialed teachers who educate babies, toddlers, and preschoolers. Yes, it is a real thing. The other is, it's a dead-end job. There's just no room for growth, and that is not true. And you're going to be really wowed, I think, by the end of this hour to see how much that is not true, how much that is false. And then, historically low wages with, once you start at a certain level, there's just no room for a raise in pay, and there's no room for this, and there's no chance of that. And that is most definitely not true. And like I said, right now, that is a huge misunderstanding because there is a lot of investment in this field. You hear a lot, you go back 2 years, 2020, COVID-19 hits. And no one really wants to say, if you're going to say there was a silver lining there for the world of early education, it was a huge silver lining. We literally in like 24 hours emerged from the shadows. Okay. It was finally the world is listening. Finally, the nation is listening. They're paying attention. Parents can't go to work. Children need a safe, enriching place to go. Your village fell apart because grandma couldn't watch your baby. It was, it was a silver lining for our industry. And you now look 2 years later and all these steps that have come in the past 2 years, longer than 2 years, and our industry, our players, we are at the table now. We're at the table with the big dogs. Like when they're talking about education discussions and workforce development discussions and things like that, early education is there. And so, and you can see that now visibly, the interest and the investment in both public and private realms. You talk about small volunteer groups, local nonprofits, local foundations, early learning coalitions, right on up to Tallahassee on the state level. There is robust initiatives, campaigns, and money, like cash, flowing into this field. Recruitment and retention initiatives for prospective teachers like you. We all wish we could change the business model, but it's really hard to do, and we can't change it overnight. But we are all collectively doing what we can to subsidize wages and to make sure that there's growth and to make it easy and accessible and affordable. So all of that is in play. The other thing is, as you go through this, I hope I at least piqued your interest just a little bit. And if I did, you're probably like, okay, well, do I have what it takes? Or like, do I need certain credentialing to get started? And I'm pretty sure you have what it takes because there's no experience necessary. And that's the beauty of this right now where you are at. To be honest, if you have a big heart, you like to watch and help children grow, play, learn, discover, create, all of that. We can do the rest and we can guide you in the rest. And every program you're going to hear about today has a very personalized approach, and we cater to however you learn and you grow and whatever job you want to take it. So hopefully that piqued enough interest, and let's dive into our speakers today. Our real speakers today. My colleague, Barbara Papantanakis, she is our teacher trainer extraordinaire, is what I like to call her, at the ELC of Sarasota. Barb, welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for that introduction, and thank you all for being here today. Brent, if you could share my first slide, please. So what we're going to start with is just an overview of what is required and where you can go with a career in early childhood. As Anna mentioned, there are many options. It is not just entering and then you're there and that's all there can be. You can be a teacher, you can be a director, you could own a center, you could work for an early learning coalition at some point in your career, however you would like to take that career path. So that first piece there, the entry level course, this is something that's required to just come into the school and start working as an assistant. It's a 45 hours. It's hosted online, but with a lot of support. As Anna mentioned, all of our programs have a lot of extra support. So we have the courses that you can take for free that we will help you enroll in. They are online. And then there is an exam, very short exam. We also host that, and it is free as well. So there is no cost for you to start your career in early childhood. We speak with all of our centers, family childcare homes in our areas who are looking for employees to come in on the ground level, and we can get you connected with them. Beyond the 40 hours, that next step would be your FCCPC. There's a lot of abbreviations in early childhood, but it's your Florida state credential. And this is something also that is offered in Sarasota County in conjunction with our Early Learning Coalition. We host the courses. They're one evening a week and then some online work that we get you well prepared for. There again are scholarship opportunities for that program through Teach Scholarship, as well as currently a scholarship through our Early Learning Coalition. You can enter the program at any point at the start of a new course. So we're in one right now. We're 3 weeks in, but in 3 more weeks, a new class will start. And if you were interested in that, you can join. For your 40 hours and your FCCPC, you can work on them simultaneously. You don't have to do one and then the other. So if you are motivated to take advantage of 2 free programs that will get you a good position in a preschool, we're here for you and we have them ready and we will support you all the way through. Any questions at all? That's most of what I do, as Anna had mentioned in the coalition, is lots and lots of training and support. So we're always here to help you through. It is something that you will get a position in a preschool if you would like to work in preschool. We have many opportunities available. Beyond that FCCPC, you could get a director's credential. That is also something that is held online, however, with support again, and SCF will talk a little bit more about that because I believe they offer the director's credential. Onward to an associate's, if that's something you're interested in doing with SCF as well. Also bachelor's degree and master's degree, all supported by Teach Scholarship opportunities. So you could go through all of these programs at no cost to you and have a really great position either in a preschool with a coalition, as a specialist, whatever route you choose to take. But it starts with a simple email to me or any of my colleagues at other ELCs, and we would get you enrolled in that 45 hours and get you moving. Could you share the next slide, please, Brett? So this next slide just really talks about where you can go with the training that we can offer to you at no cost. You could start as a part-time teacher, maybe an aide in a classroom, kind of getting your introduction to where you want to be. You know, I always tell students in programs that I work with, you really can check out, do I want to work with 3-year-olds? Maybe I want to work with 2-year-olds. Where do you fit? Where do you feel most comfortable? And that is a great start to be part-time or an aide assistant in a classroom to kind of discover that, as well as, you know, a VPK lead teacher. You could be an owner if you chose to become an owner of a preschool. In administration, you know, we can help you and support you at any point in those pursuits, as well as working for an ELC. As we said, you know, you could be a curriculum specialist. Some larger preschools will have someone dedicated to just work with the curriculum and help that implementation with their teachers. We have infant toddler specialists. If you really feel that that's where your passion is and you want to work with infants and toddlers exclusively, you can become a specialist and work in those classrooms, supporting those teachers, helping guide them with best practice for those classrooms. Higher ed, you know, you could be a researcher. You know, there are many different assessment tools that we use in the field of early education, if you decide that is an avenue you wanted to pursue. Also, behavior specialists, you know, there is a need in every community and definitely in Sarasota County for, you know, those teachers, they need some help, they need some tips, they need some guidance about how to best serve a population of children that may have some behavior challenges. So that is something else that you can pursue if you choose to, based on this career path.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Brett?
All right. Well, I'm going to now kick it over to Francesca at Early Learning Coalition of Manatee. And Francesca, let me get your image up here for you. All right, take it away.
Thank you, Brent. Hi, everyone. As Brent said, I am Francesca Ricciardo. I am the Workforce Initiatives Coordinator here at the Early Learning Coalition of Manatee. So the program that we have is called our pre-apprenticeship program. So we have partnered with Manatee Technical College and we provide the schooling for prospective students to get their DCF 45 hours. The class is run by an instructor over at MTC, and the class times are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 12. Within this program, we offer tours of centers. So these students who may have never stepped foot in a childcare center or even kind of know the ins and outs, they step foot in them, they get a tour, they see kind of everything that they've been learning in class up front in front of their eyes. We also offer stipends and sign-on bonuses up to $1,500 for students. It is a fully covered course, so there is no fees for the student. We at the ELC cover the cost. And then, as well as getting your DCF hours, you also will become CPR certified during this process as well. A big thing too is my role is I work with the student kind of hand in hand on anything that they need regarding, you know, possible job placement or whatnot. So after they receive their 45 hours, the student and I work one-on-one, and I set them up at local childcare centers here in Manatee County for interviews with the hopes that they will get employed. So I kind of offer like that mentorship and help with the student in anything that they need. Of course, the DCF classes are run, like I said, by an instructor over at MTC. They meet, they learn, and then they take a test. Upon completion of the test, they receive their certificate and they are good to go in that sense. So as Barbara kind of mentioned, there's a bunch of different kind of career pathways that you can take. Of course, the first step is to getting those DCF hours. You know, once you're employed, you can kind of keep going education-wise. And MTC also does have an apprenticeship program, which is a 1.5 to 2 year program where you will get your FCCPC, as Barbara mentioned, you will get your director's credentials and all other possible credentials. But our step is to get you guys learn all about the different processes and programs through the DCF hours, and then place you in one of our local childcare centers for employment. So speaking of employers, I am introducing Annette Larkin. She is the owner and director of Happy Cubs, as well as a board member for the Early Learning Coalition of Manatee. Annette.
Hello, welcome all. As Francesca said, I am a provider here in Manatee County, and I believe I'm going to give you just a short little introduction on how this program will benefit you from an employer's point of view. Having the ability to walk in and apply for a position in a childcare facility with what you would be coming with these pre-apprenticeship classes, credentialing, those things are invaluable to an employer. When you come to us with those, we're ready to put you in a classroom with perhaps another coworker. Those things that you're going to be learning or that you choose to learn at that time will help with your advancement. As I believe Anna had said in the beginning of this webinar, she is correct. Daycare now has a whole different perspective. People are looking at us as more professionals, and there are unbelievable opportunities for an advancement. Yes, you can own a facility. I have friends that started as a teacher in the classroom and now work in Tallahassee with the education department. So the goals and visions are endless to your own possibilities. But to touch base back on the program that our ELC is offering, when you come to me as an employer and you say, I have my 45 hours and I'm working on my credentialing and my goal is to go further, you are invaluable to us. The opportunity that I had recently to work with a young lady that came out of this program was amazing. She brought to my center just a whole different outlook that my current teachers, who I happen to have long-term teachers, stood back and went, wow, we never thought about looking at it this way. I'm so glad we're partnering with this organization. And I'm so glad that these opportunities are being, presented to young girls and young women in the community. So we look forward to having many more of you join us. And I thank you for this time, Francesca.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francesca. Thank you, Annette, so much. And with that said, great. I think we're going to transition now over to Eunice at State College of Florida. And let me get your presentation up here. All right, Eunice, go ahead and take it away.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share a little bit of information coming straight from State College of Florida. Again, my name is Eunice Lopez, and I am an adjunct instructor for the early childhood program, and I'm also taking on a bit of a role as program manager for the AS and BS program in early childhood education. Right. Great. So as I hear everyone sharing their programs and sharing the different opportunities that we all have for you, if you're interested in early childhood, if you're currently in early childhood, really the theme that's been discussed this afternoon is pretty much courses, opportunities for professional development. And for us here at SCF on the non-credit side of the university, we really want to get you prepared for these 45 hours. So we're offering a DCF 45 preparation course. And really what that means is just to get you prepared for you to complete those competency exams that are required for you to be able to continue working in the current program that you may be in, or if you're interested in working in childcare, you definitely need these programs. Go ahead, Brent. So why should we do this? Why are we offering this non-credit, 45-hour prep? And the reason why you may see a difference in some of the text here, 40 hours, 45 hours, DCF, the Department of Children and Families, their website still focuses on the 40 hours, but there is an additional 5-hour course that is mandated, which is a literacy piece. And so that's why sometimes you'll see 40, 45, but it's really a total of 45 hours. But what we want to do, what I particularly want to do with this particular prep course, is to prepare you and empower you to successfully pass those competency exams. We know that some of our audience, they've been in the field for many years and they've had to, continue their professional development, or we have newer early educators that are very interested and passionate about teaching young children and need to pass these courses before actually being set in their programs. So what we know for sure is that we need to complete these training hours within 90 days of employment. You need to at least begin the process of taking these courses. And then while you're in, you must finish these 45 hours within the first year that you're there. So it's really imperative that we prepare and we pass these exams. So we can be very excited about being in a position, but if we're not keeping up with our professional development, it becomes a hindrance. And so what we want to do at SCF is prepare prospective teachers and current teachers to pass these competencies exams successfully. Go ahead. So here are just some of the goals, and you can just go on to the next slide because we really just want to focus on combining and engaging students and prospective early educators with theory and practice, because really what we're learning in all these courses are theory-based, right? So we're going to learn about early learning terminology. We're going to be learning about developmentally appropriate practices, leadership, everything that has to do with early education. And that's great. You're sitting in front of a computer, you're maybe in a classroom and you're learning all this theory, but then we really want to couple that with implementation, practice. What does it really look like? So for this particular preparation course that SCF is offering, we want to be able to meet every student's learning modality. So if you're an auditory learner or a visual learner, the modules are going to be comprised of learning experiences and cooperative group experiences that are going to help you tie the theory that you're learning with the practical implementation in the classroom. So that's really the goal. And then this is just a kind of a breakdown of what it's going to look like, right? So when I keep talking about a preparation course for your competency exams, so we really just want to help you gain a deeper understanding of each of the different components within those introductory modules, which are known for as part 1 and part 2, right? This course that we're offering is a non-credit 45-hour prep course, and it is fully online. However, I am the type of instructor that really likes to connect individually with each student to really learn what your learning style is, so then you can successfully complete the course. We don't want you to enter a course and then already be panicking because you have to take all these online courses and you have to do all these online interactions. So I will work with you directly so you feel comfortable and confident to continue the course. Now, the time frame has changed. So the good news is that we're looking at more of a 10-week course, and it is self-paced. However, the course will be 10 weeks, but it will start at a certain date and end 10 weeks later. So I know that some of the other programs and some of the speakers that spoke earlier have kind of a flowing type of a lineup, but for SCF, we do follow a calendar. And so when we are offering this 10-week course, it will have a start and an end date. It will be virtual learning, like I said, fully online. We will be using a Canvas learning system, and it will be a Canvas catalog learning system. It's very similar to Canvas. And again, I will walk you through every step of the process to be able to successful as we build your strengths and work on some of the challenges that you may have. This course is also at no cost to students. We have the Barancic Foundation that will be covering the costs of this particular course. It will cover all the fees. It will cover the course, any books that we're going to use, which we're really going to just focus on the DCF student guidebooks that are offered through DCF, but we will be able to purchase those books for you to be able to engage within this course. And then the final exams that are required through DCF, those competency exams, those fees will also be covered in this course. And so we're partnering, of course, with the ELCs and other agencies that have on-site training centers in conjunction with the training coordination agency that DCF approves. And so then you'll be able to complete your final DCF introductory module competency exams. That's almost like a mouthful, but really just those ending exams that need to be completed through an appropriate training agency. And then really what the conversation has been this afternoon is it's been about career pathways. So you can go ahead and switch to the next slide, Brent. So that's also our focus here at SEF, because we don't just want it to end at 45 hours. We want you to continue your professional development, and we want to support you in that. And so SEF does offer the Child Care Center Management Certificate, which is your director's credential. Also has other certificates like a preschool teacher certificate, and then it also has a degree track. So you have the associate's degree as well as a bachelor's degree in early childhood education. And so really we want to empower you to think about the early learning profession and career as it is. It is an evolving profession. And so as educators, we also need to continue to evolve with our professional development. And we're here to guide you. There are early learning terminologies that was used 25 years ago, and we no longer use that terminology. There are brain research that we know that continues to evolve the information about how children are learning and how children learn best. It's important for us as early educators to stay in tune with the nuances and the current information and research regarding early education. And we definitely want to help you with that. Okay, see. And so this just really talks about some of the goals and objectives for each of the degree programs. Again, it's really focused on all the areas of early childhood education. And it really gives you an insight of what it looks like, and it breaks down each and every type of early childhood information and what is needed for a strong foundation to be able to serve young children. And of course, we have this misconception that early childhood education is only for teachers working in the classroom. And as our wonderful speakers have mentioned, there is so much more in early education. Not only can you be an early educator working in a classroom, but curriculum specialists. I mean, there are early educators that have a love for art, and they've become, art therapists, and they've become authors, right? And they've become illustrators for children's books. So there is an array of professionalism and different types of career within our programs. Next. Again, this is just another kind of snippet, and you'll be able to review these slides after this webinar is over. But this talks a little bit about our bachelor's level. Of course, it is at a higher level. So we're really diving in a little bit deeper about how we serve young children birth through age 4. And you will be able to gain such a wide range of information regarding early childhood education and how you can use it within your daily practices. And this is my contact information. And then, of course, I left a link as well for the State College of Florida catalog, where you can look at a little bit deeper into the types of certificate programs that we offer, as well as our degree track. And then the scholarship opportunities are available. This 45-hour prep course that we're offering, that starts, by the way, it starts in October. I don't have the exact dates, but we'll have that soon enough, is offered by the Barancic Foundation that will be covering all costs. And then hopefully all of you are aware of the Teach Scholarship Program that is also available for all interested early educators. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share this time with this exceptional group of speakers. And I wish you well and hope to see you in one of my classes soon. Brent, back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Eunice. And thank you to our entire panel for such amazing content in really, I think, understanding just the sheer amount of opportunity in early childhood education, right? Just kind of, a better understanding that it is right, that it's not necessarily, you don't always have to be a teacher. And you know, this is a great entry point, a great start for anyone that's just interested, and a great way to kind of get your foot in the door, and begin a really, really rewarding career. So we have a couple of questions. So we're gonna, if there are any other questions that people have not answered, please drop in the Q&A box. We're gonna start moving through those here. So our first question, Eunice, you might be most appropriate to answer, but of course, anyone feel free to chime in. If someone has a bachelor's degree in a completely different field, unrelated to early childhood education, what would that process look like if they wanted to attain a bachelor's in early childhood education? Would it be a 2-year program, a 4-year? If someone can speak to that a little bit.
Okay, I can add a little bit of the information that I do have regarding SCF, State College of Florida. So if you do have a degree, associates or bachelor's in any other field other than early childhood, all you need to do is come in and speak to one of our colleagues from the early childhood program. That will be able to review your transcript and articulate some of the credits that you already have, and be able to determine what courses within our early childhood degree track you already can get exempt from the credits that you already have. And then they'll give you a breakdown of the courses that you do need to be able to switch or add on to the degree of early childhood education. So hopefully that helps.
Also,
Wonderful.
in addition to that process, if you're going to work in the state of Florida, regardless of your degree, whether it is an early education degree or another degree that you're going to submit to get your transcripts reviewed, the 40 hours is required. So this is something that regardless of degree, you need to have in place to be an employee in a preschool or childcare setting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. Next question. So this question popped in, Francesca, when you were talking about the TEACH program, pre-apprenticeship program with MTC. And they were asking if those classes are available online.
So right now we are doing it in person only. We are in the talks of possibly in the future doing stuff online. But yeah, right now you go to MTC Monday through Friday, 8 to 12, to attend those classes.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I think, Eunice alluded to, obviously the prep for the 45-hour at SCF, that is done online. So there are some options in there, depending, you would be able to find some online options if you can't attend in person. And then again, for you, Francesca, if someone was interested in applying for the pre-apprenticeship program, do they do that directly through ELC Manatee, or do they do it through MTC?
So on the flyer that was presented and that I know will be sent out in the follow-up email, there is a link at the bottom to Manatee Technical College's website, and you apply through them. My contact information is also there, email and phone number, if you do have any questions. But yeah, for this program, you would specifically sign up through Manatee Technical website.
Wonderful. And I think that's a great plug too. Just reminder everyone, all this information that was shared will be sent in an email within about 2 days. The flyers, contact info, a link to this recording so you can go back to it. Next question here, really open for anybody. But if someone previously had their credentials, but they expired in, say, 2017, how do they go about getting them back? What's that process look like? Any takers?
Yes. So sorry, I was unmuting. It wasn't working.
You're good. Thanks, Barbara.
So there is a re-credentialing process through Department of Children and Families. However, there is an expiration date on that process. So if we're thinking back to 2017, they probably would need to repeat some items. We can, or Manatee, whomever, where they are located, work with them and work with DCF to see what we can put together. Some of the time it is just repeating portions, but not the entirety of a program. But with the time frame, it is something that would need to be addressed. And if they haven't worked in the field for a while as well, we would need to look at updating some of that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. So I think, yes, for the participant, your best option, right, reach out to ELC Sarasota or Manatee, and they can take a look at your specific scenario and guide you a little bit better. Next question. So someone's asking about, they want to do the 45-hour class, state they can't afford it and would like to do something online at their own pace.
So we do offer that support for the online self-paced. What happens is through our Aspire program here in Sarasota County, that we connect you with a DCF transcript, you get set up. I work with DCF to get those modules. There are 6 parts, all unlocked as they complete them. Once they're completed, we also provide them with study guides and some other study information to get prepared. And then we offer the testing at no charge as well through the Aspire program once a month at our training room here in Sarasota.
Beautiful. Thank you, Barbara. Here's another great question. If someone's interested in reaching out to one of the ELCs, should they do that based on the county they reside in or the county they prefer to work in? Does it matter?
Barb, that's all you. I don't think it necessarily matters, but if you're in person, probably closer. If it's an NC,
Yeah.
then you'd want to. If you're right next to MTC, then that may be a good option for you. Right, Barb? It would probably be depending on where you want to work or where you live.
I think it would be, in as far as training purposes and receiving trainings through an ELC, it may be similar to residency for other ELC opportunities, whether it's subsidy for childcare, that you would want to be connected to the ELC in which the county you live. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to work in the county you live, but my understanding would be that if we're providing trainings for someone, that we would provide the training in a way that it would be connected to the county in which they reside. Does not mean they have to work in the county they reside, but
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So agree. Yeah, to participate in MTC's program, you do not have to live in Manatee County. Obviously, if you live closer, like Anna said, it would make sense to go to that one. But yeah, you can live in either Manatee or Sarasota County. Currently, right now, we actually have a student that does live in Sarasota County, but attends our program in Manatee. So you can really, work or live in either county. But as far as, receiving, like Barbara was saying, services and whatnot, when it comes to, needing childcare and financial assistance and all that kind of stuff, it would make sense to be in the same county. But again, we're all open to accepting anybody.
Right. And then another
Wonderful.
thing to consider is, and I'm just thinking, if you end up knowing that you want to work in a certain community, a certain city, or certain zip code, that the ELCs in each prospective county really know their centers. And so those relationships and the quality and all of that. So also think about where you might want to work. And it could be, obviously getting in ties. We're all accessible to everybody, but consider that the ELCs of each prospective county are experts, right, on those providers, and can be that job connection for you.
Fantastic. Here's a great question. What if someone is in the process of getting a work permit to legally work in the United States? Are they eligible to do any of this on an immigrant status, or do they have to be, have a work permit to, start any of these trainings?
Good question.
Right.
We may have to have that reply in the email that you send out in 2 days. How about that?
Yeah, no problem. So we will circle back to that question and see, again, if you can start this process on immigrant status or any of these trainings, or if you do need to have, authorization to work in the United States. Last question right here. What about ESL participants, are any of these courses offered in Spanish? Are they only in English?
We do offer the 45 hours in Spanish. That through our DCF contact, they would take the online modules in Spanish, and then we would speak with our test proctor that comes to us, and they would bring the exams in Spanish as well.
Fantastic. That's great. And another question, someone has, they were an overseas education, so they finished school in Europe, they're a dual citizen. Again, that may be something we need to follow up on, but I also think the best bet, is contact the ELC closest to you, and they can talk and look at sort of your degree, where it's accredited, and see if any of that is transferable. But if anyone has any additional recommendations for someone that, has perhaps finished, school abroad or is accredited by an institution outside of the United States, if anyone has any direct experience with that, please feel free to chime in.
So
This is Annette. Oh, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead. Nope.
Francesca.
No,
ahead.
go for it. You go for it.
I'm sorry. I have two employees that I actually did this with. They are from Cuba, had their education degree from Cuba. There's an agency actually in Miami that you submit all of your paperwork to, and they do the process of clarifying it and making you certified here in the States. And what I'll do, Francesca, is I'll get that information to you about that agency, and then you can send it out in the email as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Perfect.
Annette. And then,
Yeah, and I was gonna say the same thing. When we went through, bonuses that we were kind of like working on and stuff, we had plenty of teachers that were giving us, their credentials and their degrees from other countries and whatnot. So yes, thank you, Annette. I will send that once I receive it.
perfect. And then Eunice, were you going to chime in there?
I was just going to reiterate what Barbara had mentioned in the beginning about regardless of, what country or what other state you may be coming in with some credentials. Absolutely. We have agencies that will look at your transcript from another country or another state and articulate to see where you are in the track. However, here in the state of Florida, you must pass those DCF mandatory trainings. And that's why this webinar is so critical for anyone who's interested or needs articulation, because you can get support here at no cost in any one of these agencies that we've discussed to get those mandatory trainings completed. So hopefully that helps.
Fantastic.
And then there's a beauty that you can, anyone that someone who mentioned the 2017 expiration and they had it, and you can go through the DCF. It's for, these DCF modules, you can go through them as fast or as slow as you need to. And so if you remember all this stuff and you've got a one up and you know it, you can zippity bop your way through it. Just making sure that those tests are available with the proctors and such. So it is, it sounds very overwhelming. You're like, how many hours? What's going on? But if you have sort of been there, done that in the past, you can go through it much easier if that is possible to do.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Well, that wraps up all of our questions. Right. We will include some more information in the recap email to anybody that we didn't get to answer their question. I'd just like to thank, all of our participants for joining today, just learning more about careers in early childhood education. Thank you so much to, our fantastic panelists in really kind of explaining, all the just so many options in such a rewarding career, and so many options for advancement in different areas that you can focus on. So I thank everyone for joining today, presenting. And quick plug, we're going to end, but stay on. A survey is going to pop up automatically on your screen. We really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, a fantastic holiday weekend. And don't hesitate to reach out directly to the Women's Resource Center if you have any questions, and we can get you in touch. But again, you'll get an email in about 2 days with this information as well. So thanks again so much, everyone. Have a great day.